I'm Karina Kantas. If you are listening to the audio podcast, hi. And if you are watching my YouTube show, hi. I have two very special guests joining me today. We have Jade and, I'm going to say this wrong, Wilnona. Welcome, ladies.
Hi, how are you? Yeah, Wilnona just stepped away to get a cup of water, which is kind of hilarious, right? Because she was just like, oh, she's doing so she's going to have some stuff, and I got like a minute to get some water. No, she didn't. Actually, she got me water, which is amazing, and I thank her for it.
So now I'm stuck holding the pitcher, and she's got the water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, I'm Wilnona.
Hi, I'm Karina. And how are you doing, Jade?
I'm a little thirsty.
She's thirsty. I'm a little tired, I guess. But you know,
we're doing great.
We're doing all right.
You two are like stuck to the hips. You. I don't know how long you've known each other, how long you've worked with each other. Tell them, our listeners, our viewers, a little bit about yourselves.
Well, I've known her forever, and we're just gonna leave it at that.
Because we don't want people to figure out how long that's been.
Yeah, because it's been several years. And then let's see. Well, we worked together, I guess, forever. Well, not really on writing. Well, this is my best friend in the world, and I convinced her to write a book of poetry again. And she said that I wanted her to be broke, and then I told her, wouldn't it be really funny if this is what made your name in the writing world? And she was like, never gonna happen. It's poetry.
You see, this is what happens when your best friend wins an argument.
I know, and you start getting
and then you start getting just a tiny bit of notoriety and recognition off of it. Interview.
It never goes away, and so I am thankful to like whoever put this together for this, because this is fabulous. Like, I get to win so many arguments now. Like, but remember when I told you that this book of poetry was gonna sell, and you didn't believe me, and then it just sold?
Please understand that before this, I used to be the smart one.
Oh, wait, that was the practical one.
Yes.
The smart one and the practical one. So that's how it is.
And then you two go to school together. Have you known each other that long?
Yeah.
We've known each other so long. Like, did we go to school together? No. Yes.
We did 2 years together.
2 years. But I mean, it's just, we have a friendship that is just, through the ages. Although we're not that old, y'all. I'm like 22.
You live close by one another. You live very close to one another as well. What about you? Have you, either of you been to university, studied anything?
Oh, yes. Wilnona just constantly is
Jade went to university to study sign language, and then she decided that was a waste of her money, her parents' money, so she went and learned sign language the old-fashioned way, hanging out with deaf people, and she's a sign language.
Well, absolutely. I already had a whole bunch of deaf friends, and so I was just like, y'all, I'm really studying to be an interpreter, and they were like, fab, let us help you. And so then I got invited to more deaf events, and I just hung around the community, and I told my parents, why don't you just let me have the money to pass my interpreting test, like the tests that they have, like different states and stuff have different tests. So I was like, how about you guys like buy me a car, not a good car, just a car, like wanting to get me to where I need to go and back home, like not like a new one, just a car, and we'll save up a bunch of money, and I'll fail the test like 4 times, and then when I finally pass it, I'll work.
And it still would be less than the first year of university. But please know that Jade knew she wanted to be a sign language interpreter since she was 8 years old.
Right. Wow. So I've known a very long time. And so my parents weren't shocked when I knew all the different ways to be a sign language.
Was someone in your family deaf? Is that why you wanted to learn?
I started in school when I was 8 years old, and I was like, that is my career. I want to learn this beautiful language. I need to know it. And this is my career. And I had, from that point onward, my parents even actively sought out deaf people. Like, when they saw a deaf person in the store, they would be, writing, hey, my daughter wants to learn sign language. Is it, where do you go? Where's the club? What is the stuff? What is the stuff? We will, my parents would drive me to, far places so I can know these deaf people. And it was, it's so... I applaud my parents, and they were just with me through that whole journey.
The point that I know we've talked a lot about this and not writing, but it does help our writing, by the way.
It does.
But the really cool thing that Jade did was in her high school, there was a deaf teacher, and she literally found the person to teach. She found the students to be in the class.
Funding.
She found the funding, and then she proposed it to the administration and school board, and they approved it. So in the state of Maryland, where we live, it was the first sign language class.
That's
because she's
amazing. Jade, that's amazing. Congratulations.
I don't even view that as like a thing. And,
Oh,
and then people tell me now, they're like, oh, I took that sign language class. And I was like, it's still going on? Like, that's still dope.
That is such an accomplishment, and you should be really proud of yourself. What about the other half? What about you, honey?
I did go to university. I graduated 2 years ago now, is it?
I don't know, because you graduated like several times from the university. I can't keep a count of your degrees.
So I left with 3 degrees.
What were you studying?
I studied biology, business, and it was going to be creative writing, but
English.
Things happen, so it became English.
Well, I suppose creative writing is part of the English curriculum.
Yeah.
You still got a bit of that in. So why biology? Business, I understand, but why?
Okay, wait. I want to
Go
say
ahead,
it. I want to
Jade.
say it.
Since I told your story.
So at a very young age, this girl came
at
5. I remember her telling me, "I'm gonna be a neurosurgeon."
A neurosurgeon.
Yes, and she proceeded to read all the books and send away to get the books that weren't available on the regular library list. Like, she would actively read these books that are literally thousands of pages.
Did you sleep, basically?
She would I would be sleeping. She was like, "Did you know that this is connected to this?"
Oh my gosh.
I wish I cared.
Okay,
but I'm glad I listened, because I got to be an interpreter, right? And that medical knowledge helped me.
Yeah.
What happened was, when I was in kindergarten, I ate really slow. So when I got finished my snack time, the only book that was available was a kind of 10-year-old book for anatomy. And so every time there's no toys left, there's no games left for recess or anything like that. That's just this book about anatomy. So I just kept reading it over and over and over and over and over again until I had memorized it. And then I was bored. So I went to the library. I was like, do we have more anatomy books? And so that's what I read, because I was a slow eater. And then I was like, I want to be a neurosurgeon.
So what happened?
Oh, I'm not smart.
That's not true.
No,
Life happens.
I was pre-med, and then I had some issues in life. Hence why our first book is in. I thought divorce was bad. So yeah, and I was actually working 3 jobs, and I was a pre-med student.
Wow. Because I know the hours they do, pre-med students, and working 3 jobs as well. You must have been dead on your feet.
And I decided to date someone way away. Like, I live in the middle of the East Coast, and he lived all the way down in the South.
Oh gosh.
The weekend I was flying down.
South, he lived in the South, so
down south.
Yeah, so it was a lot.
But I still maintained my grades.
Well done.
So I went from pre-med to nursing immediately, and that's still hard.
So is what you're doing now with and we thought, and your books and your magazines, is this full time, or do you have another job?
It's full time.
It's full time, especially in the time of COVID, right? I mean, no one's really working, so definitely. And I think that we are extremely excited that we went on this journey 4 years ago. Oh, back to telling the story about how I won the argument forever. So the book, our first book, And I Thought Divorce Was Bad, is what garnered a bunch of attention for us. I mean, not we're super famous, because we're not. But anyway, that's what garnered the most attention for us. and so I won, because Wilnona was like, what would I even name this book? And I was like, And I Thought Divorce Was Bad. And now 13 books later in the And I Thought series, I'm still winning.
So
I was just going to ask, where did this "and I thought" come from? It's like you've started a sentence and you've stopped, and it's like where's the rest of the title? So I mean, where did that come from? Who picked that?
It
was all
literally
Jade. It
came
literally
from
happened that same way.
Taking, like what I just said, we were literally taking a road trip. And I said, you have to return the poetry. Your poetry is so beautiful. And she writes genre also. And she was like, no, because you want me to be poet. And I said, no, I don't. It's beautiful poetry. And she was like, so what would I even call this book? And I'm driving. And I was like, and I thought the voice was bad.
It was supposed to be one book. And then someone was like, well, and you could have Anne. It was actually someone from England.
We were on her radio show.
On her radio show. And she was like, you know, it could be like the chicken soup for the soul sort of thing. You have chicken soup for the teenager, chicken soup. She was like, well, you could do "and I thought" anything. It's like, and I thought divorce was bad, and I thought being a teenager, another.
Carrying on the sentence, yeah. Yeah, I see.
So like our second book is "And I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy," because let's be honest, when we're young, we're looking at our parents, we were like, we would never do it like that. And then you get old enough and you're living on your own, and you're like, I see why they did like that. They were some smart people. I didn't know. You called them. You're so smart, parents. You're so smart, mom and dad. Like, I don't even know how I existed and thought you were dumb. You're amazing.
Let's go back to the first book. And you're saying, okay, I wasn't famous. But what got you in the limelight with that book? How did you get that book out to the masses? How did you find your readers?
So I've been around publishing. I got published for the first time when I was 10. So I knew a little bit about being published. And yes, I was published in poetry when I was 10. So I recognize that when you write, it's not necessarily always about what you wrote. Like, it's not like, oh, you won't believe the figurative language in this. You won't believe the descriptions in this, or the sentence techniques. It's not necessarily that's going to interest people, but they will be interested in how it applies to their lives. And the first book dealt heavily with recovering from an emotionally abusive relationship or abuse, or for seeing an abusive relationship, because we have multiple women that write in it. And one of the women had seen an abusive relationship, and she talked about how it affected her life. Mm-hmm. And then somebody had gone through an emotionally abusive relationship and was looking back on how she was recovering. So the first two poems literally are about abuse and emotional abuse at that. So there's not a huge platform that talks about emotional abuse. We all talk about physical abuse. We all know it happens, and we say, you need to get help. And there's entire platforms set up just for women to get help for that. And we felt that we needed to bring attention to emotional abuse. And yes, you can't see what's going on, but they need just as much help. And when they get out, they need just as much time to recover. Yeah. So that's what we really talked about. And knowing when your relationship is toxic. And it really helped because we had women from the age of 23 to 56 at the time that had written together. So it was not just about emotional abuse or divorce. It was about the different places that a relationship could be and the different places that you would find yourself in life as a female.
So the whole title of it is "And I Thought Divorce Was Bad" with other life lessons.
Is this an anthology of other people's poetry, or is it all yours?
We don't like to call it an anthology, because when people hear anthology, they're like little cats, like, I don't want an anthology. It's gonna be full of flowery. So we like to call them literary life guides with pop poetry. But yeah, it's an anthology.
Yeah, it literally is a book that takes you through life lessons. And unfortunately, or for me, fortunately, because I am the narcissist, most of it is my writing or her writing. Well, she has one poem.
I have one
poem. So most of it is my writing.
But I am her beta reader, and I do give like lots of thoughts and lots of notes, and like, oh, I don't really like that word choice here. I've been doing that for years.
So
since she was 10.
So your readers, you were looking for readers that have been understood about abuse and have been in abusive relationships, or have helped other people in that situation. They were your readers for that first book.
And you
Yeah,
would
they
think
were.
that, but then there was a lot of men that read our book, and actually people told us
It's very surprising. by the way.
yeah, it's very surprising actually, and they told us it literally is the second part of your title with other life lessons, because you learned a lot through the journey of the book. So it's like for everyone. Yes, we started to deal with emotional abuse at the beginning, but we take the journey of women just being women and growing up and things hitting them and not hitting them.
So one of the things that's really interesting about the book is, and the people that we found that were reading it, we thought, well, it's going to be for people who are in emotionally abusive relationships. And then one day we actually looked at the numbers and we looked at the profile of who our actual fan is.
And
And
reviews.
surprisingly to us, they start at about 55 years old and they go to 70, and they're Caucasian and they're male.
That was your
I don't know
readership.
how
Wow.
that happened.
Wow. When you first started out, I mean, you said you knew a little bit about publishing because you published at 10 years old. My daughter was published at 10 years old. She's done 2 books now. How did you market this book? What steps did you do to get it out there without just talking about social media, Facebook and Twitter? I mean, what worked for you?
Pitch letters.
Wilnona
was great at writing pitch letters.
Yes, very true. So one of the things that I did when I was younger, 19, was I started my own publishing house.
All right.
So like I picked out the paper, I had someone help me do graphic arts, and we did our own covers, and I know that this is 10-point glossy paper cut by with an 8.5 and 11 with a 3-inch bleed. So these sorts of things. I know what type of glue they use to get it together and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So while doing that, you learn a few lessons. Number one, you don't hit publish on something and then the world goes, oh my God, I have to read it. That never happens.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. Yes, your dreams are crushed straight away.
Yeah, exactly. Now, granted, we did have new people who were on the book with us, and they did believe that's how it worked. But that was an interesting and new conversation, but it has nothing to do with this conversation.
Okay.
The marketing part for me was, first of all, we did a launch party, and then I knew about how to set up like small tours, not a big national tour, but like a small regional tour. So I had writers before that were in different states. And so I could set them up small regional tours going through like book groups and talking to people like that.
Perfect.
I decided I didn't want to do that legwork this time. I just didn't have the time to invest.
Mm-hmm.
But I did pitch letters, and I had learned a lot about PR. So I figured out what a pitch letter is. And by the way, if you're a writer and you write query letters, you can write pitch letters. You can. You really, really can. It's just the same thing. And then I became a little obsessed because that's my personality. And I literally sent out 6,000 pitch letters.
To
everyone. If you had a podcast, a YouTube show, a television show, a blog, if you posted one day that you thought about making a blog, if you had a website that looked like it might have an interview tab, you got a pitch. I mean, everyone from Ellen and Oprah all the way down to just like Fiona McGinty or something like that. You got pitched.
From Ellen and Oprah, did you hear back from them?
Yeah, I actually heard back from the Ellen people. That was kind of cool.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't get on.
We didn't get that,
but still.
Yeah.
Still, we heard back from them, and Wilnona just was like, "You have to." Everyone thinks about like Good Morning America or wherever you are, like whatever your morning show.
Oh no, I've even pitched Good Morning Britain.
Right, Britain or whatever your morning shows are. Everyone thinks, oh, I need to get on those, and she's like, that's fabulous. But there are podcasts out here that deal with writing. There are they all deal with social issues, or that deal like maybe one of our books has a recipe that goes through. So we've been on some cooking podcasts just because we have a recipe that goes through the book. So we can talk about that. It's in our book, you know, like we can talk about making these biscuits. So she's like, you have to really think outside the box of the people that you're pitching. Like, what does your book deal with? Like, if it has like 2 characters and one is African American and one is Asian, well, let's talk about how, as culture, we can get along together, because I have 2 characters in my book and they get along. How do they get along? Let's talk about that. Get on the podcast about that.
I like that. It's
Again,
not about the book. It's about what the book brings, and how it affects people. Whereas everyone is promoting and marketing their book, you were taking it a different route, and it worked for you.
It did.
It really, really did. And we got to talk about our life lessons and being like, hey, we don't know everything, but this is what these ladies and us have learned on our journey so far.
How far did it get up the Amazon charts when it first came out?
When it first came out, it was just a dud.
But we worked on it.
So I'll tell you the honest to goodness truth why I got started. I told someone that I wanted a national tour for my book, and that person told me to get real. These things don't happen,
especially to indie publishers,
especially to indie to self-published authors. No. And I got and that's literally the only reason we have this notoriety that went with the first book, was because I got mad. Like, I've done this myself. I know I can do this national. Yeah. And so by the time we got to our third? Was it our third? It was our third book. Yeah, it was our third book.
Our fourth book.
That's
the one that shot up the Amazon charts.
Yeah. So the 4th book, we got to number 18 on the Amazon charts in general.
So this is a collection, and I thought, continuing on, and it's all to do with social issues in all the different books.
No, we don't deal with. We don't really say we deal with social issues. Like, normally we just talk about life. It's like a bunch of women getting together and talking about life. Like the 4th book that got
poetry then.
Yes. Literary life guides with pop poetry.
Did you have the same writers in all your books, or did you find new authors, new poets to put in your
yes. As we went around and started traveling on these like tours and going to different places, you meet different people, and I think the 4th book, we have a bunch of different people on there.
It's the first book that has all 13 ladies.
And we talk about, the title is, And I Thought I Did My Journey Alone, because you meet people, and again, people think, oh, I'm the only one that this happened to. And I mean, like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard the story, right? But not like in a bad way, not like, oh, I can't believe you're telling me you're not the only one. No, more like, yeah, I wanted to let you know that you're not the only person. And a lot of times that's just comforting to people in general. Like, I'm not the only one. Fabulous. Yeah. Whew. So it's not as strange as I think it is. No, it's not. It's happening to a lot of people around the world, trust me. And they're like, okay, all right, this is the human experience, and this is the human experience. And so I think that's why we have all those 13 ladies, because we wanted to, like, explain to people that a lot of this stuff that people think are separating you, no, it's happening to everyone, and it is actually the human experience and not just you alone. You're not out there alone.
Exactly.
So, I feel that, okay.
Go ahead.
I feel that, like, what I really want to add in right now is that I know the books are written by different people, and a lot of people go, oh, it must be an anthology, but I want you to know, like, for And I Thought I Did My Journey Alone, it's literally more like a story.
So you start with a traveler.
There are 5 parts. It's been a minute since I've written this book, okay? It's only 4 years, but there's 13 And I Thought books, okay? And then there's a whole nother series we do by ourselves. And then another series. So
we started something else.
And we started another series. So it's been a minute since I've been to this book. So please just give me a second to remember.
It's 6.
There are 6 sections. But with each section, you get introduced to a traveler. And you start off the book with a traveler knows that they have to leave things behind, that to forsake what they had to go on a new journey to find a new place. And every section is talking to you follow this traveler through the entire book. So it's actually a story that happens to have poetry in it.
you've got this group of women, and you've got the poetry, you've got the talent, and now you've got this idea, this unique idea. Did you say to them, right, this is what I need from you? Or did you just leave them to do what they do, and it all came together as magic?
Well,
No,
we wish, right? But we left people to do what they do, because when you leave, we believe, our personal, when you leave people alone to create, they will create the best stuff, because they're not thinking, oh, I have to do, like, we give them a generalized, like, the title of this book is going to be "And I Thought I Did My Journey Alone." All right, so that they can have like a clue as to what they're writing. But after that,
whatever you turn in is what you turn in.
What you turn in. And so a lot of our books, we had like life lessons and certain things. And then with the "And I Thought I Did My Journey Alone" book, as we're reading the poetry, we're like, hey, this feels like a journey that these people went on. And then we started writing that traveler story.
So we wrote the traveler story, and then our job is my job mostly is to write poetry, first of all, real poetry that I really want to write. And then I write filler poetry.
We don't like to, she says filler.
I call it filler poetry.
I call it poetry that makes everything cohesive, like just goes over everything to get together.
And flash fiction. So say someone wrote, like, we have one poem that's just about time. And then the next section would be about the death of a relationship. Well, you can't just jump, it has, yeah. So then I wrote this flash fiction about a lady who had all these dreams, but as time went by, she met a man and she settled down in the town she meant to leave, and now she works at a cafe, and it's their 30th wedding anniversary, and they're going back to the same cafe that she met him in, that she used to work in, and now they retired from. And she throws away the ring and he gets her a new ring, so she throws away the old ring, and she recognizes how many hopes and dreams went in that trash can, because time had just kind of slipped by. So you can do, like, you have a time poetry that literally is just about like clocks and the minute and the tick-tock of a clock, and then you have the flash fiction, and then you have the next section, which is about the death of an actual marriage.
That just flows.
And it flows. And that's kind of our job.
Yeah, it's to make sure it flows, move around the poetry, figure out the lessons. And we're figuring out this stuff.
You're the glue.
Yeah, we're the glue. But we are figuring out this stuff and getting inspired by the people's work. So we're reading it because we didn't know what they were going to write. And so we're reading it and we're like, oh, that was so inspiring. I think we should call this section this, because I'm inspired.
So like with "And I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy," it was easier because we knew the sections, because we came up with what we were going to do. The book starts off with the fact about independence, but it's literally, the sections are recipe steps. So when you get to the end.
But we didn't know we were going to do that. That kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did. We're riding in the car and we were like, oh, what do you really need to be grown up? And I was like, what's really funny? It's because they always tell you when you're growing up, because here in the United States, when I was growing up, wheat bread was much cheaper than white Wonder Bread. So everyone would complain, I have to eat this wheat bread, because it was like 88 cents for wheat bread back then. And they were like, I have to eat it. Ugh. And then like they would be like, oh, when you grow up, you're going to be so happy to have that brown bread. And then when we grew up, it was like, oh.
It was like a saying. They were just like, right now you're home and you're eating. It's like
white bread.
All these old people would tell you, you're eating that white bread. But when you grow up, you're going to eat that brown bread. And you're like, I don't understand what they're talking about. By the time I grew up, of course, wheat bread was like
$3 a loaf.
$8, right? White bread was like $1. So yeah, you bought the white bread instead of the wheat bread, but you wanted the wheat bread because you knew it was better for you, right? And so, I mean, obviously it was like turned upside down, but I understood what they were talking about. Like while you're home, right, your parents are buying, you're getting good stuff. You're getting nutritious things, like you're just having good food. And then when you get on your own, you're like, this cup of noodles is about to be like 2 meals.
Yeah. So the point was that if you knew, we thought about how many times, because we actually
I know
she
how to
moved
cook.
in with me when she was 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like that's a whole nother story.
That's a different day.
Different day.
Different day.
Story. But like when she moved in when we were 21, and we thought about how many times we would have been dead broke if it had not been for the fact that we know how to make our own loaves of bread, dinner rolls, or biscuits.
Or the many times that I would have been like, I can't afford steak today or something, right? And then I like call one of my we have really good guy friends, and I would call them and say, what do you have? What are you eating tonight? And they'll be like, oh, I was gonna just make these steaks. And I'm like, don't you want like mashed potatoes and like a fresh biscuit with that? And they're like, yeah, I do. So if you bring the steaks to our house, we'll make the fun. And they're like, oh, that's fabulous. I'm gonna go get some more steaks so we can all have all this meal. Like, and I ate off of you for like 4 days. Thank you. But for my part, all I had to have was flour, baking powder, and like margarine. Or they will call you, I'm in the store. What do you need me to bring for these biscuits? And you're like,
oh, cool.
butter? Like some real butter? And they're like, of course we're gonna have biscuits. Excited. But I wouldn't have happened if I didn't know how to cook something.
The point was like, and I thought being grown up was easy. We were like, I think the most important thing that you need to know that most people don't know, this has got us a far away, is that how to make biscuits.
How to make biscuits.
Because it's dirt cheap and it can keep you alive if you need to be alive. And then you can also use it to barter. So
when you say biscuits, I'm from the UK. I'm from Greece. I have no idea what you're talking about. Biscuits and gravy on the films, on the TV shows, biscuits and gravy. What is these biscuits?
So they're like scones, but not with any fruit or anything in it, basically. And flaky.
So use for your tea, but you would use and you put clotted cream on it.
Yeah,
but it's like flakier. It's flakier.
Yeah, it's bigger and lighter.
Yeah,
ours is like about that big, and it's like fluffy light.
But how does it go with gravy?
With gravy? Oh.
Okay, so you're fortunate. You're talking to people that grew up in the South. So I'm gonna tell you. Now you're gonna get hate mail on this, and I'm gonna get hate mail on this. So just bear with me when I say this. I like to make a spicy sausage gravy to go with my biscuits if I'm doing it. So it's just like cream chip beef, but thicker and with sausage.
And that sounds spicy.
And spicy. I like to make mine spicy. That's not traditionally Southern, and yes, y'all, I know, but that's my twist on biscuits and gravy. Awesome. And I think it tastes great because I put hot sausage in it, and I put like a whole bunch of pepper flakes, and this is like spicy, and it's like coming through the cream. It's so good. Now I have to make it. Man, now I'm gonna have to make it.
Okay. Moving on. Next series. What is your second series that you worked on?
We do the Misfit Guides, and then we also have one single book.
We have one single poetry book. It's only me, and we'll be coming out with the one single poetry book. That's just the two of us writing. And the Misfit Guides is pretty much the two of us. Well, no, we kept Alexis.
Alexis is writing on it because Alexis always writes with us. Yeah. She's always down for writing. She's like, of course I'll write.
Hold on, I lost that. On the second series, it's called The Mystery.
The Misfit Guides.
The Misfit Guides. And again, it's poetry or it's fiction?
It's poetry and it has like
prose and flash fiction.
So we did something really weird with this one. It's actually Misfits, MISS-Fit Guides.
Misfits.
I'll have it up there.
It's normally right here.
Hold on, let me check the.
Let's check the drawer.
Let's check the drawer. Let's see. The drawer of treasures, right? This is what we call it.
Nope. All right. So we have the Misfit Guides, a sassy sway for that leaves crooked footprints, and the Misfit Guides, cocktail soirees in the LBD. So we came up with this wonky idea.
Okay.
Wonky.
She's like looking like I don't understand. Yeah. So we came up with this idea.
I'm finishing.
Yes. Oh, you're finishing.
Yes, I'm finishing.
Okay.
The Misfit Guide. So it came with this wonky idea where we recognized our life was weird. We started talking to other people. That's one of the things about traveling.
Strange.
About traveling is you find out that there's some things that happen to everyone, and then there's some things that
just like, happen to you.
Just happen to you. And we figured we should do what we would call a resume of them. So in the front of our book, it's literally done like a CV, and then you have like all your skills, and instead of skills, it has something odd that happened in childhood, like 3 things, and then something odd that happened when you were like a teenager, and then something odd that happened when you were growing up. For instance, one of those things, teenager, was when I first learned how to drive. I went to the gas station and I went to pump gas, and somehow I got my skirt caught in the hose in a way that when I put the pump in the gas, it rose my skirt like a Marilyn Monroe, but on the back side. And I couldn't untwist myself without taking the pump out, and it was running gas, and I had already clicked it up, and I was trying to pull the skirt and get the thing, and the only way it would come out is if I spilled gas. And it was on a busy street. And it was on this really busy street. So the only way that I could get the pump out of the gas thing was to actually pull it out and then unclick it, so the gas would have spilled all over my dress. So I just stood there and pumped a full tank of gas with my bum showing to the world. Because I couldn't get it.
You wrote about it, so everybody could read about it.
Yes, because it was hilarious. I was like, and I kind of got out the car when I recognized it was happening and kind of like stood behind her to kind of try to like cover it. And I'm like, okay, are we good?
What would you do without Jade? Come on. I have a couple of experiences that could have gone into one of the books. One of them is riding down on my motorbike, and a wasp somehow got through the top, through the jacket, into the bra, and I'm getting stung. So I slam on the brakes, I whip off my jacket, I whip off my top, my boobs come out, the wasp flies away, and the sting is still in my breast, pumping the poison sting in my breast.
Oh no!
And this is on a busy road. So things like that happen, and it's you're laughing about somebody else's misfortune, but it's humorous, it's entertaining, and that's what you've done with your second series, yeah?
Yeah. So we just talk about a bunch of like kooky things that just happen, and we're like, it's hilarious. It's like a hilarious now. It wasn't hilarious when it was happening, but it was hilarious now. and so we were like, we have enough of these that we should just write them down, because we like to laugh. Like, those are the stories that you like to pull out on a bad day and laugh about, right? I mean, it's like, this is a bad day. I want to laugh, and you pull out those crazy stories that, remember when that happened and you start busting out laughing, and we were like, we're just gonna write them, because maybe somebody will pull out this book on a bad day and laugh.
This just you two who did these?
Yes.
And Alexis Rose.
All right, those 3 people, all have experienced these things happen in their lives, humorous maybe now, but not at the time. And
the resume, the first part of the book, which is a resume, that's just the 2 of us. So, like, those are only the crazy things. We did not write any crazy thing that was crazy that happened to Alexis.
Okay. What did she write?
But she just wrote pieces of poetry and things. She was kind of the filler on this. So we were
not filler.
She's not really filler. She was the glue. She was the glue on this one. She wrote poetry, and we wrote experiences that kind of matched her.
And it's stuck with your experiences.
And the way that you get through this book is so we did the whole book acting like we were applying to be guides on at a resort where they had the misfit trail. So we were applying to be your misfit guide. So the whole book is just like, each section is like, oh, we have this skill, and this is what we want. And so the first book is the application, is the classified of exactly what the person would need to do in order to be a misfit guide. And then we have our sections done by that. And the second book is my favorite book, Cocktail Soirees in the LBD. Same kind of format, is a resume in the front, but then this time is just if we were applying to be a bartender
at the resort.
At the resort. And the reason and the way that we apply is by each section has cocktails that fit.
So our cocktails that we made up on the fly.
Yeah, so these are cocktails that we accidentally came across. These are no one else's cocktails. These are our cocktails. The two of us, these are our cocktails. And Ken, who's a bartender.
You two are known. This is why people know your name. This is why you have your own show. This is why you have so many books. What you've done is so bizarre and unique that you have the niche. No one's ever probably even thought about something like what you've done with both series. I mean, I'm not even talking about the third one yet. And finding that niche and finding your readers and keeping them because they know how wacky and wonderful your writing is and your poetry is, and they want to read the next book and the next book. That's amazing when you have readers like that, your loyal readers. I can understand why you're so well known, and your books are known and they sell, and your reviews and everything, and what you do, because it is bizarre, it's unique, you've got that niche, and I just wish so many other authors could take a page out of your book and think out of the box. You know, okay, it's okay doing I do genre fiction, but I do flash fiction, I do poetry, I do prose, I do the works. And I've got nothing against authors of genre fiction, but why not step out of your comfort zone and do something that you wouldn't normally do? And who knows what will happen, because it's worked for you too.
I have one piece of advice. Yes. Do not take your best friend along with you if you're wrong. I enjoy you.
What would you do without me? Who's gonna literally cover your butt? Literally, who's literally gonna do it?
Tell me about your magazines quickly.
Okay. So we have the 25 hottest indie authors, artists. Wow, this is destroying my set. 25 hottest indie authors, artists, and advocate magazine that comes out once a year, and then we have the And I Thought literary magazine that comes out twice a year. I guess biannually. Yeah.
Okay. When you say the 25 hottest indie authors, how are you finding these?
So we have people. We ask. We have general submissions
at the end of this month. Okay, to your listeners, at the end of this month, which is August, we open submissions until October.
No, until like the first
week in October. Can you guys please submit?
People.
What are you looking for?
Well, we are looking for people. We call hottest as in people that are burning up their field. Like they're thinking outside the box. They're doing good work also. So it's artists and advocates. So we also talk about people that are like doing things for change. Like they're doing the one that we have this year is
she helps stop human trafficking.
Right.
So one of our advocates this year is someone who stops human trafficking. One of our artists this year is like a director who won Emmys. And then we also do the people.
And then Joan Baker.
And then
and she is a voiceover actor. Let me just be the actor, author, and executive producer. So that's what she does. And she has been burning up the field of voiceover acting for like decades.
Did you contact her and say, we want you?
Yes, could you please be our cover? Yeah. So we contacted her. But other people put in, we asked for submissions, and then we
have a board that also has people that they suggest and we vote on. And then we also give a small spotlight to each one of the editors. So as the founders, we get our own spotlight, and then the associate editor gets his one pick, and then the editor
their spotlights
gets their one spotlight. They're not on the list, but they're definitely people you should definitely look at.
So,
and then we have.
Are you okay with genre fiction, or are you looking for anything?
We just want names, and so we can.
And so what you're writing about is helping somebody out there,
or you're just doing good works in your community. That would be fab too.
Yes, definitely.
But you're writing about it though.
I should probably write down the requirements.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be, yeah. If you'd like to submit, please, this is what we're looking for. So where can people go and submit their work?
Okay, so where people can go to submit your work, first of all, for names for the 25 hottest, you can submit it by going to www.andwethought.com, filling out the contact us form. And once we get that, we'll review that person. If you are friends of ours on Facebook, just message us and be like, we would like to nominate. And that's perfect. Our Facebook is Wilnona Jade. Not Wilnona and Jade, just Wilnona Jade.
No, it's Jade Wilnona.
Jade Wilnona, I'm sorry.
Jade Wilnona.
Jade Wilnona. My bad.
I mean,
Covering my butt again.
Little people are listening to this and they're thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to have a chance of getting
Okay, so if you didn't recognize, we said 25 hottest indie authors, artists, and advocates. So little people,
specifically little people, would be
please apply.
Perfect.
Maybe we won't pick you, but I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
True.
And more than likely, if you do apply and we don't pick you and you're not picked for the list, we will more than likely contact you to be in our literary magazine.
Hey.
About something, a book that you wrote or something. We really love promoting other people that are out here.
We have like 3 shows, and we know people with shows. So please just apply, because again, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
These are the 3 requirements for the 25
Look forward to my submission, because it'll be coming your way.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Thank you for us.
I thought I already asked if you wanted to be in our magazine. Not the 25 hottest, but
she's gonna submit to 25 hottest. What are the 3 guidelines?
The 3 guidelines. Number 1, please write something if you want to be the 25 hottest author. Or if you want to be an artist, at least, prove that you can be an artist. Number 2, have you done something that has changed your genre, even in the smallest way? Genre, poetry, have you thought outside the box at all? And then number 3, have you done anything in your community to improve it? That's it.
Okay, cool. That's excellent. And your website, where can people find you?
Okay, you can find out everything your ladies are doing on www.andwethought.com. Again, www.andwethought.com.
And your books are available wide or just Amazon?
Amazon and Barnes & Noble. If you go to andwethought.com, you can check out everything we're doing. And I just want to quickly shout out our new podcast, which is the Ladies' Tales podcast. And that is us having a table read of one of the scripts that we wrote just off the whim. And that's episode 1. And we'll have other great professionals on that will be telling you. We interview the actors, and then we're interviewing managers and stuff that will tell you how to advance your career.
That is amazing. You just keep going. You're just growing. You keep on expanding. There's no stopping you, ladies. You're going to take over the world.
There's no stopping you.
There's no stopping you. We're not going to take over the world, but we're going to look forward to when you do.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you again.